One of our favorite sponsors is back with us, Sunset Lake CBD.
Yeah.
If you're looking for CBD that actually does what CBD is supposed to do, look no further than our friends over at Sunset Lake.
Let me break it down.
Break it down, Mel.
They're sustainably farmed, meaning they avoid pesticides and use sustainable farming practices to preserve the land for future generations. 1. 2, farm to table. They ship the CBD products straight from their door in Vermont directly to your door wherever you're at.
Now that's cool.
And third party tested. They test everything with a third party to ensure quality, dosage, and safety.
You got to go over and check out sunsetlakecbd.com. They have so many products. Break it down for them, Apple.
Well, they've got some new stuff going on. Like they always had pre-rolls, but now they got really cool packaging for it. And you can get CBD pre-roll flights of all their flavors. You can get the heavy hitter flight that also throws in some of their Keef blunts. They have a new CBD recovery body lotion.
I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the other?
The other one with arnica.
The extra strength muscle rub, 3,000 milligram with 5% lidocaine.
So look,
Oh, yeah,
if you're
lidocaine.
sore, this is the stuff you want to rub on your body to make those aches and pains go away. They even have CBD infused coffee, so you can have coffee without the little jitter that you get from caffeine, and you have it in the morning and you start your day off right. Your body feels lubricated. You're going to sleep good.
Yeah, and also they have, if you kind of forget to reorder, they've got subscriptions.
And they're giving the No Simple Road family 20% off.
20% off.
Put
with
in the promo code NSR20 when you're checking out at sunsetlakecbd.com. You're going to get 20% off your entire order.
NSR20.
And don't forget those cute little gummy bears.
That's right. sunsetlakecbd.com, one of our favorite sponsors, is back. There's nothing better than the Grateful Dead family hooking you up with delicious food at Fire on the Mountain.
Fire
Here
on
in
the Mountain.
Portland, 3 locations, 2 locations in Denver, and they got a lot of stuff happening in the Fire on the Mountain world. Tell us about the beer, Apple.
Well, I just get really excited, just when you think they can't bring you anything delicious anymore, like they've done so many good, delicious things. They come out with their new beer, which is a vanilla bourbon coffee stout.
Wait, what?
I love vanilla. I love bourbon. I love coffee, and I love stout beer. They put them all together, and I can't wait to try this.
That's like Willy Wonka got inside your brain and made a beer out of what your brain loves.
Like, what are 4 of your favorite things?
Well, let's see, sir. Yeah, and they've done that with pretty much the whole menu over there at Fire on the Mountain. They got into all of our brains and were like, what is your favorite thing,
Yeah,
sir?
because
or
when I
madam?
saw that Nashville hot chicken sandwich, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Do we need to make a special stop?
For sure we do, and for sure
So
you
do you? Yeah.
And just to throw like another thing out there, you mentioned it a minute ago, like the sauces they keep coming up with, blueberry serrano sauce.
Yeah, or Creole dry rub, chili lime, all of them.
Like you're not going to get bored.
And they even have stuff for you vegan people out there, so don't feel bad if you're not into chicken wings or poultry products or other stuff. You can go and have delicious vegan wings over there, have an awesome salad,
That's right.
get some pizza. Anyway,
Anybody can go.
And if you're not in Portland or Denver, don't feel left out.
Nope.
Like we always say, you can go and you can get some of their merch. You can order their sauces to be delivered to your house to make your own awesome wings.
that's right. You go to portlandwings.com and check out what they got. They have some amazing swag over there. You can get a hoodie or a t-shirt, and then you can like rep the Grateful Dead and Fish family in the form of a restaurant stuff. Yeah.
And if you want to look at them up on Instagram, FOTMPDX and FOTM Denver.
Yeah, that's right. So go check them out. Fire on the Mountain, part of the family. When you go online to buy like lot clothes and stuff, it's hit or miss, and it's really cool when you find somebody that is making cool shit like all the time. Like every drop they do is good, and they never throw a stinker at you. And that is what's happening with Shop Tour Bus. Go to @ShopTourBus on Instagram or shoptourbus.com and check out what our friends over there are doing in the form of Grateful Dead song titles told in picture form.
They've made their t-shirts like trading tapes. The
That's
t-shirts
true.
themselves are the, 77 Cornell and like everything. Like those, they're special. And if you like the way that they feel, You will love having every single one of these items in your cute t-shirt collection for you. Like, I don't know, what am I going to wear to, Fish Vegas? What am I going to wear to, I don't know, but you can do anything with these shirts. They're dope.
Apple, what's the new one?
Well, the new one, they say they tweaked the knees and reshaped the surfboard a bit, and they're super stoked on this one. The estimated tees are now available for pre-order. So go over there, do your pre-order for the estimated profit. This design is so dope. It has everything California kind of in it. It's
Makes
just
sense.
fitting.
It's an estimated profit shirt.
You'll get it in one of the new boxes. They now have the new Terrapin shipper boxes that are ready. You just have to go over to see how dope these look.
Yeah, it's like an all-over printed box with their Terrapin Station design on the inside, and it doesn't just come with the thing that you ordered in it. There's all kinds of extras, and some of you are even going to get a Miracle Grateful Dead bootleg cassette in your order. And make sure you put in the promo code No Simple Road, all one word, when you check out, because they are hooking the family up with free shipping. So go check out shoptourbus.com or at shoptourbus on Instagram. You'll see what we're talking about. It's the best of the best.
Hey everyone, Chris Pandolfi from the infamous String Dusters here to let you know that my podcast, Inside the Musician's Brain, is back on the airwaves for Season 4, which means it's time once again to get deep with influential musicians from all across the musical landscape to really understand and translate the lessons of success, failure, inspiration, and hard work that are behind the music and the artists that we love. My guests this season include Rachel Price from Lake Street Dives, Sam Bush, Chris Wood, Chris Funk from The Decemberists, Lindsay Liu, MC Taylor from His Golden Messenger, and more. Check us out, and thanks for listening.
We're so excited to tell you a bit about today's sponsor, Music Masters Collective. They are a nonprofit organization that produces unique music events, providing opportunities for fans and artists to meet and collaborate in an inspired and creative atmosphere.
Music Masters Collective events give you the opportunity to learn from world-class musicians like Otil Burbridge, Steve Earle, Richard Thompson, former members of the band, the Milk Carton Kids, Nikki Glaspie, the Fab Four, and Sean Colvin, and so many more.
At an event like the Milk Carton Kids Sad Song Summer Camp happening this July, you can expect immersive classes, evenings of entertainment, excellent food, and a space for a lucky group of folks to learn, co-write, workshop, and perform with like-minded peers, all with the guidance of Kenneth Pattengale, Joey Ryan, and some of their favorite songwriters. This all-inclusive week in the Catskill Mountains of upstate New York is guaranteed to be magical. Scholarships are available and spots are extremely limited, so visit www.sadsongsummercamp.com/simple to learn more. That's www.sadsongsummercamp.com/simple. Check it out. Snow has stopped and we can now communicate without the distraction of a snow globe outside the window. Hey No Simple Road family, what's happening? This is Aaron.
This is Mel.
And this is Apple.
What's going on, everybody? We are back for another
installment
of the No Simple Road Weekly Rewind. Wow, that's hard to say.
Weekly Rewind.
Done in collaboration with the Edible Beats.
The Edible Beats.
Out of Denver, Colorado.
Thank
Go check them out. They are creating magic over there, and they are partners with us in doing what we're doing. And
magic in
we
the
are
form
very grateful for them.
Of delicious, edible, unique, vibrant foods.
And, it makes sense because we are delicious, edible, and unique.
We are.
Yeah. I want to eat all their things.
You do?
Yes.
I
Looking at the Instagrams for the restaurants and stuff, it just, man, I can't wait until we go to Denver again.
One of the things that, I mean, of course, food that's delicious is awesome, but food that's beautiful that you almost don't want to eat, there's something to be said about that. I'm not talking about the fancy one where they give you like one tiny little thing and then like a little herb on top, and
they blow smoke at it and they're like, here's a pea with smoke.
I'm sure that stuff is cool too. I don't know about it, but their food just looks so awesome and shareable, and it looks like it lends for such a cool dining experience. I'm just so excited to go be part of that when we go to Denver.
Well, on the Weekly Rewind, we've talked about like our favorite festival experiences and like what we would do if money was no object with our life and stuff like that. And I was thinking today, like, because Mel and I are getting ready to go to Fish Mexico.
Well, I mean, it's a month out, but I guess that we are still getting ready.
You're preparing.
Yes,
preparing.
Yes.
We are. You were just looking at light up sunglasses
I sure
and
was.
frilly tutus. So you're getting ready.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, like, talking about taking vacation, right? Vacation is such a, it's become such a part of our life because a lot of our life is spent
vacationing.
Going
now
places.
because we're going to festivals and concerts and doing, and
But
I mean,
so you wouldn't consider that work?
I don't know.
Right?
It's a working vacation is what I consider it
Okay.
now. Like when we go to Peach, we are most definitely not home. We are staying in a hotel or camping or staying in a hotel.
Yeah.
And, and
it's something we do even if we didn't have a podcast.
True.
Like going to festivals.
not as often.
Yeah, definitely
It's
not as
expensive.
often.
Yeah, that's true.
We'd probably pick one a year that we would do it up at. But like, I was just thinking if you had like a magic wand, right? What and where would be your dream vacation and why? And because especially in the culture that we live in, it's very strange the way that we have set up society right now. You work like 50 weeks out of the year, and you get, most places, if you're lucky, you get 2 weeks vacation.
Yeah, that's if you're lucky, for
And
sure.
We save and plan all year for those 2 weeks.
Around that vacation
And it's
time.
that's wild to me, man. Like, and I remember before we did No Simple Road, like feeling like when I was on vacation was the only time that I could completely let my hair down. Like going away and you don't have any cares and you're not worried about schedule and
everything's
you're free.
shut off.
Yeah. And that's fucked up, man. That 50 weeks out of the year, we are
2 of it
toiling
is yours.
for these 2 measly, little bits of week. And then we go back and that's supposed to like recharge us for the rest of the year to continue doing what we do.
Yeah.
It depends on your perspective too. If you hate your job and don't like to work, you're going to most absolutely want to get away from it. But if you enjoy working and you don't hate it, a vacation is just another great thing that you get to do during the year.
That's true. I think for most of my adult life, I haven't, hate is a very strong word.
Yes, it is.
I would hate to see your hate then, because this is when you talk about work or since I've known you and you've worked in the communications industry, if the feeling behind it wasn't hate, I don't know what to say it is.
A strong dislike. Hate is a very strong
disdain.
word.
Disdain.
Yeah, I think that like doing something every day that you aren't like completely passionate about causes that over time.
But what about if you can work in something that you do like every day in addition to your responsibilities to offset that feeling?
That's what I was just gonna say. That's why I think one of the one of the coolest like jobs out is like who was Bert Kreischer, like they have those reality shows where all they do is vacation. Would you get tired of vacationing? Like after a while, like, oh, I got to go on vacation again.
Yeah.
But just like traveling around the world and documenting it and sharing it with others, that would be awesome.
Seems exhausting.
In answer to your question, though, Mel,
never be home.
Excuse me. I will say that since we started doing No Simple Road, it has exponentially alleviated that feeling of like frustration with my day job. Not that like I don't still get frustrated.
Yeah,
with
it didn't take it away.
It didn't take it away, but like I have something else that I'm doing that I'm passionate about. So at times that doesn't seem as bad. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you can kind of shift your focus off of what's negative and onto what's enjoyable and positive.
And we always have something to look forward to.
Yeah.
There's always something on the calendar. The calendar is it's not like, oh, in 6 or 7 months, I get to go to that one vacation.
Yeah, but travel is such a huge part of the human experience. If you aren't traveling, you're missing out on a huge portion of life. You get to see life from different perspectives, even inside your own country.
Especially, I think, let me say this, when most of the time, this is not absolute, but most of the time when you ask somebody, at least who lives in America, hey, you're going to go on vacation, and there's this idea that you need to get out of the country in order to really like travel or vacation. But I think a lot of us in America haven't really seen a lot of America.
Yeah.
And that's like a blanket statement, but that's a kind of a thought that I've had, because you go to Europe and you're like, oh, I'm going to backpack in Europe. Like, why not backpack in America? Start in Florida or end your way up around.
Or even just backpack in Oregon. I remember when we first moved up here, getting to know people that are like born and raised here. They're like, I've been here my whole life and I still haven't seen everything.
Yes.
Like our state is so full of things. I constantly see things on Instagram, like other trails.
Yeah, like waterfalls and the high desert.
Much, especially, everywhere, but the Pacific Northwest.
Absolutely.
Has so much packed into it.
Yeah. And I remember when my dad was alive, him saying that like the different parts of the country, like the deep South, as opposed to the Northeast, as opposed to West Coast, is literally like different countries when you visit them. And
well, think about like Southwest versus where we're at right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. And I think that was one really amazing thing about the Grateful Dead, and what Fish and Dead and Company do now is they offer one of the last safe, I'm air quoting safe, ways to do that, to see the country and be able to support yourself and experience different cultures within your own trip.
Yeah, like have a reason to go do these things.
Yeah. And it's just weird to me to think that there's a lot of people that I've met in my life that are born and raised somewhere and have never left. Literally never left, like didn't have the money to go on vacation. If they did, it was to the mountains in the same state that they lived in or whatever.
Or sometimes the desire.
Yeah. Sometimes
people that maybe have a small life living really can't see beyond that, and not negatively, but that's fine for them. Like they enjoy their farm work or their small town or their family or like what they've built, and they don't necessarily feel like they need to go to another continent to be whole or see anything.
I don't know if it's to be whole. I think that like,
whatever reason.
Yeah, but some of my favorite things that we've ever done, and some of the things that are in my life now that I love, are because of stuff that we did when we were traveling that I found out.
Like what?
One that comes to mind immediately, and you're going to laugh, is coffee. I remember traveling to Hawaii and tasting Kona coffee for the first time in Hawaii and being like, I want that every day for the rest of my life.
You were like, I want to move here and buy a coffee plantation and be a coffee farmer.
I did say that.
Immediately.
And without experiencing other people, places, food, things. Like, I don't know. I feel like my life wouldn't be in color.
Those things absolutely provide inspiration for like new thoughts and, like you said, coffee, senses, for your senses, you know, like you get to see something brand new and beautiful that, like when we went to Mexico and we saw those ruins, the pyramids and the cenote that we went in, like I'd never seen a freaking cenote before and never experienced the temperature of the water and that big hole in the earth with like that. It was so hard to describe and what it made you feel like. It gives you inspiration for stuff, whether it's music, whether it's art, whether it's just different ways to think, you know?
One of my favorite things of traveling, I think you would agree, everybody would agree on this, is trying different foods of different cultures, different regions of the country.
Absolutely.
That's one of my favorite things.
I would.
You guys always like, every time I've gone on a lot of family vacations with Aaron and Mel and the kids and stuff, and I'm already like, it's a month out, I'm already looking at what there is to eat, what the cool places are, what we gotta do, and they're always like, okay, Apple, where are we gonna go eat?
Honestly, Apple, I appreciate that so much too. Because I don't consider myself a foodie by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, I like to eat, but it's nothing that I think of firstly. It's always an afterthought, and that's something that you always bring into our life.
First thing on my radar.
Yeah, you always bring that into our life. So I, by default, end up eating great because you have that in you. But yeah, that eating different foods and just seeing how it's being cooked and stuff different. Like when we went to Puerto Rico, you unfortunately weren't there, babe, but it was so different than everything.
How so?
Well, the ingredients are different, and the people are different, and the marriage of flavors are different. So it just, everything tastes different. Like, you know, like say you always like go to your favorite restaurant, right? And you go to the grocery store and you get like the same foods and you meal prep. So you have very fixed tastes in your catalog,
right?
And then you go somewhere in a different country and you've never seen this fruit before and you've never witnessed what this seasoning tastes like, and then you get that and it makes you, there's something that it does to you that you can't really explain.
It's almost like reading a book that has information in it that you didn't have before. It like
opens you up.
It does something, and that's rad. That like a smell.
Well, remember when we went to Amsterdam?
Barely.
Well, what I remember when we went to Amsterdam, it was like one of the first restaurants that we went to, and it was like kind of like hard to get into. And do you remember? It was like a weird thing.
I have video of it.
And we just were eating foods, and everything tasted so fresh and rich.
Well, we
and
were high.
What?
One thing I remember from Amsterdam too is that, which there's a lot of Europe, is like there's not like, it's not Americanized. There's not Safeway and grocery store.
No supermarket.
You walk in just down the street from where we stayed. There's like the bakery. There's the cheese shop. There's the butcher. Like you go to each little store, little local owned, family owned and ran, little dope ass spots that have the best food.
You get like
that you could possibly want.
Subs inside of like a 7-Eleven-ish type place or something. It wasn't a chain.
I remember the cheese one, they're going in there and the guy's like checking us out. We're trying some cheeses and he's like, you want to try some special cheese? And he went and got the cheese like from back. Do you remember that?
No, dude.
It was cheese that's not approved by like the
FDA, whatever
their governing body is over there of cheeses. And he's like, yeah, this is like, he's like, this is shit that we're not supposed to have. But you know, and like it was like here, because I like the funky cheeses. And he's like, oh, this is not acceptable here, but try this. And it was so good.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
Weird.
I just keep thinking the mayor of cheese. Is that Mayor McCheese? Would that be the guy that is over the governing body of the cheese there?
I don't think so. That sounds like an American thing.
Okay.
Mayor McCheese.
Yeah. So who wants to start?
What was the question again?
I'll start. I'll
go
start
ahead.
because I already
Yeah,
knew
you already know.
immediately because it's been one of like the dream vacation.
Yeah.
And this
why?
pretty much centers, one of the biggest reasons is because it centers around food.
Okay.
Is a tour of Italy.
You want to go to
I've
Garden?
wanted to go to Italy. Yeah, you could just go down the street. Okay,
Yeah,
Apple's
We could do that for lunch today.
You ordered the tour of Italy from Olive Garden. No, I've always wanted to go to Italy, even since I was a kid, because of the food and all the different regions and how they do things. To try all the different olive oils, the pizzas, all the stuff. And I've always loved like Italian movies, like being on a moped. Like having a
So you want a
little
Vespa
Vespa.
with a baguette?
Fuck yeah, dude. I want
With your striped shirt,
I want a
dude,
Vespa and be
What is that, friends?
cruising through all the hill, going to all the, good, like, because there's a lot to see in Italy and a lot of different regions of cooking styles and everything. And the women, the men and the women, it's a beautiful country. It's beautiful people. It's wonderful food. Italy has just always been one that's on my radar that I would love to go take a tour of.
Okay. And so if you went
Stay
there,
in a villa.
I was just going to say that was my next piece. So, okay, you're going to Italy. What kind of traveler are you? Like, are you the traveler that like, I'm cool to stay in like Airbnbs there by myself, or I want to do like shared hostel stuff, or
I don't
I need 4-star or above.
No, I'm not a 4-star or above person, but like the hostel thing. But then again, I don't know. That's different over in Europe.
The hostels are different everywhere you go.
I'd want to stay in a villa. If recently did you guys ever watch the new season of The White Lotus?
Part of it.
Jennifer Coolidge, that's in it, Stifler's mom.
Mm-hmm.
That's her. They go there and her. I was like, oh my God, that's like my dream. She wanted to do the whole Italy. She's like wearing a scarf and the big sunglasses and on the back of the moped, and that was different because she's like with her man on the back of the moped. But I envisioned that from like old Italian movies and like just the heritage of that, being on a Vespa, cruising through the hills, all the little roads,
Like a little
and
farmhouse
going
or something.
totally off because like, I mean, that's with most places, there's always the touristy things. I don't care about that. I want to go off the beaten path and go into little villages and go have bread and pizza and hang out in the little cafes out front that are so cute. And the same thing. You talk about a good coffee game. Italy's got it down.
Yeah, for sure. So like you're talking like a little farmhouse maybe.
Yeah.
You got your Vespa and your bag.
How long is this vacation?
Yeah.
It would have to me to do like anything in Europe, right? It would be like 2 weeks.
Okay.
2-week vacation, if not long. Well, I mean, I would take longer, but I'm like, 2 weeks is, that's a
Minimum.
long vacation, and it'd give time to spend like, 2-3 days kind of working up through the regions. And then for some reason I'd want to end in Sicily.
Why?
Because it's separate from the rest of the boot. It's its own little island sitting off of Italy, and just the Sicilian heritage and the way they do food. It's so different.
It's totally different.
You got the Neapolitan like up top. You got Sicily.
Napoli.
You got all the different, and they're so like fierce and passionate about their ways the right way, and that their olive oil is the best olive oil, and
Those are great reasons.
Italy always carries like an overtone of like romantic music and the beautiful seashores, and everything about it just brings such good feelings.
Would you want to see live music while you're there?
Oh fuck yeah. I'd love to see what their local, what all their local music is, and
okay,
yes,
that's fun. All right,
Italy's,
so we're going to Italy with
Italy's
Apple.
my number one.
And that was Sydney wanted to do that this year for her birthday.
Oh wow,
Yeah, she
Okay.
was like, "Mom, can we go to Italy for my birthday?" And I was like, "I don't know, Sid. It's in the summer."
Yeah.
One like and then like that city that just made me think of like going to Milan.
Yeah.
Like the fashion capital of the world, where everything converges there.
All right, so we're going to Italy with Apple, ending in Sicily. We're gonna have heartburn for 2 weeks, and
maybe not because of the way that they
it's fresh.
Yeah, well,
different.
how they farm their tomatoes might be a little bit different. Maybe not as acidic. Who knows?
All right, Mel.
I want to find out.
Before we moved to Portland, I really had a hard on for Spain. Do you remember that?
Yeah, Costa del Sol.
I really, really wanted to go to Spain and do like a whole flamenco thing, trying to catch this cool little spots where you can have tapas and have these beautiful men and women dancing and playing guitar, flamenco, and speaking Spanish and staying up late and looking and just seeing their culture and their architecture and staying somewhere different all the time. Maybe we'd stay in an apartment for a few days and walk around, and then maybe we'd stay in a beautiful home and like with another family and like cook and hang out, and maybe we'd stay in a tiny little room and make love all day, and maybe we do like some freaking
book that shit now,
like some cool little excursion on the water. And I don't know, I always thought that Spain would be such a great place to be, and the colors and the vibe. I feel like there's something there for me,
Also,
I've always
you
felt
want to
that.
talk about good food.
Oh, of course. Well, yeah, good food. Exactly.
Spain, also.
This may sound like a really stupid question, but like, what's like paella?
Yeah.
Okay. What else is there?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm not there right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, off the top of my head, I'd have to like look that.
But yeah,
up,
like those tapas and like even drinks. I'd love to have drinks in a strange place. I'm not really too much of an alcohol drinker, but I can do it and I don't mind it. And I would love to just like let us have like this awesome tour guide who lives there his whole life or her whole life and just shows us around and takes us to the coolest places, lets us meet the little abuelas and just have some underground fun time. Maybe freaking go to a rave there or whatever. Have some freaking little coffee with the freaking pinky out, like all those things.
Pinky's out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
So that's mine.
And no like 4-star hotel. You're down to like stay with people if we had to.
Oh, hell yeah, because that's you. Okay, when you isolate yourself in a different country by staying in a 4-star hotel, maybe say for the whole trip, you're missing out on the interactions that you could possibly get by like going to the bathroom and bumping into somebody or coming in late and somebody else is up late, and like you miss the interaction of the possible, I would say, interactions of the culture.
You could stay at a 4-star hotel anywhere.
Yes.
Like that'd take you out of the culture and the purpose of like getting into.
I mean, maybe one day
everything.
to like do like some spa shit.
Like a bougie day.
That is one thing that anywhere I go, and I will say this, Apple's about the food. Anywhere I go, I want to do some kind of spa treatment because not only does it feel freaking fantastic, but I am into that. I like to know how other people touch people and make them relax, and what kind of products they use and how they set their rooms up, and what are you looking at when you're in that room, what kind of what kind of wallpapers on there, what kind of towels do they use. I know that might not be interesting for people, but I'm into that, and I would love to have some kind of dope ass spa treatment with like some freaking something on my cucumbers on my face while they're massaging me. Yes, that's what I want to do.
I agree with you on that because that's something I've always wanted to do. Like what is the Dead Sea where you go get in the mud, and like a lot of the European countries where they have these ancient natural springs and hot pool, hot springs, and the mud that they apply to you, and it's different everywhere.
It's incredible. There's this place in Iceland that I don't know what it's called, but you can go in and soak in these like pools and have, the lasso therapy, water therapy and stuff like that. That would be an awesome tour for me to be on. Like, you want to go on the tour of Italy with the
I said Iceland's on my list. That lady we saw the other night at the Railroad Earth show that was talking about going to Iceland when we were in the merch line.
Oh yeah.
She's talking about going to Iceland with the man. She's like, I don't know what the fuck is in Iceland, but we're going for these shows, and it's like Iceland.
They were going for Railroad Earth in Iceland?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
Humphreys?
No.
Okay.
There was another
Anyway,
band.
I can't remember what it was. Green Sky.
Yes, that's right.
Green
It was Green
Sky
Sky.
and some other bands. But she was like, but there's nothing in Iceland. It's like Iceland is amazing.
okay.
But so yeah, we want to do spa, tapas, flamenco, and sex in Spain.
Okay.
And Spain
Let's go.
also is the culture and the heritage behind what we know as like Mexican food and Hispanic cooking. You know, it all started there and spread out from there.
Well, Mel wants to go, so show's over. Everybody, we'll see you next week. And actually, we won't because we're going to be gone for a couple weeks on Mel's vacation.
Yeah. I would say a minimum of 2 weeks is necessary because, you know, you miss like 2 to 3 days travel on each side. Yeah. So that's like right there. If you're missing 4 days, that sucks.
Yeah.
All right. So it's my turn?
Yeah. Unless you want Darwin to chime in.
Darwin, where do you want to go?
I want to go right here.
Okay, cool.
I want to go to Milkbone Land.
Look at he looked up.
I want to go to Germany. Germany's got lots of sausages.
There's a bar in Vegas.
That's where you want to go.
Hang on a minute. Man. Just let me get there. There's a bar in Vegas called, I think it's 4 Below.
32 degrees.
Oh, yeah.
4 Below or something like that.
I think it's called 32 degrees, babe.
Okay, anyway. And it inside of the bar, you like before you go in, they put a fur coat on you and big mittens, and all the glassware is not glassware, it's actually ice. And the bar is made out of ice, and it's freezing fucking cold in there, and it's really cool. Anyway, point is,
it's called 32 degrees, like your wife said.
Okay, you were right. Anyway, there's a hotel, I think it's in Iceland, I'm pretty sure it's in Iceland.
It's made out of ice.
That's all ice. And you can go in these rooms like you could book a room that is completely made out of ice and snow.
Didn't you show that to me?
Yeah.
Once? Yeah.
And like the bed is looks like the most comfortable, warm, cozy bed you've ever slept in your life, with like animal furs all over it.
Yeah.
And the ceiling is ice and you can see through it. So you can see the northern lights while you're like in your igloo ice cabin thing.
Yeah.
And at Christmas time, it's all Christmas themed. And they have like sleigh rides with real reindeer and huge parties with like a giant 50-person table where everybody eats together.
And I know they do the ice sculpture competitions too for all the decorating.
Right. And they have like cross-country skiing tours of like to hot springs in this like winter wonderland.
That would be amazing.
And it's just this like amazing winter.
I agree with you.
world.
I'm down for that. I'm just surprised you said that because you don't really like the cold a lot. But that I guess with like a fur coat,
Dude.
you get cold out on the front patio in springtime.
I do, but I like it. I have always, my whole life, I've wanted to see the Northern Lights.
Same.
Yeah.
Babe.
Okay.
Same.
It's when I think about like psychedelic stuff that is not inside my head with my eyes closed, like out in the world, that is probably the most psychedelic thing that planet Earth, one of the most psychedelic things planet Earth has to offer.
Yeah.
Like shifting color patterns in the sky. Like, okay, count me in. I want to go. And then like the culture of the like Icelandic Norse people is so interesting to me. It's so violent and so harsh but beautiful at the same time. And I know like very little about their food and how they do their trip up there. That it's
so getting into the culture would be all
it's
new.
Always been super interesting to me. And when I saw that hotel, I was like, I'm going there someday. I'm taking Mel, and we're booking one of these weird rooms.
And then they have the fire. I've watched several things. Well, I think we all have seen things on Iceland. It's one of the most active volcanic areas. You can go on the tours of all the volcanic flows. There's hot springs everywhere. There's certain minerals that are like in the hot springs that are not anywhere else on Earth. Like it's extremes. Like you said, the fire, the ice. Iceland's dope.
And the thing, like at Christmas
I want to see
time
Bjork
that I was
in
talking
Iceland.
about.
Oh my gosh, that would be awesome.
It's not like when my kids were little, we took my son to Polar Express in Arizona, and I mean, okay,
it was
cute, whatever, it's fine, but it was cheesy Christmas stuff, right? This is not that. This is like the dopest,
like
shit
historic,
like
rooted in deep roots of Saint Nick, and not Santa Claus and Macy's parade,
and it just that time of year. I love that time of year. First of all, it's like my favorite, and
that would be really cute to do,
right?
For a Christmas treat,
to lay in a fur-covered, comfortable bed on our backs, staring up at the sky, watching the Aurora Borealis dance. Sounds like the most romantic, coolest thing ever.
It does.
Doesn't it?
What is a city without its music?
The legacy of the New York Philharmonic is incredible.
Nearly 2 centuries of history. That's a lot of music and a lot of stories.
I was sitting on stage for the very first time thinking, I can't quite believe this is happening.
Join me, Jamie Bernstein, as we explore the history of the New York Philharmonic. It's the NY Phil story made in New York, a podcast about a city, its people, and their orchestra. Listen wherever you get podcasts.
I'm very shocked because there's no music involved in anything you said.
No.
I'm shocked.
Well, okay, Humphreys is playing.
Okay.
Yeah, so they play up there. We could go. I mean, okay, first of all, full disclosure. we stopped recording after I said that last bit, and it's the next day. So I'm not gonna just keep talking and pretend. Yeah, Humphreys, man.
Well, and since then, we went out to it. We had a nice dinner, and you and Aaron realized
we had
something.
lunch actually.
Yeah, okay, so
that's true.
First off, I was wrong. The hotel, I mixed up 2 hotels in my mind. So there's one hotel. It's called Kakslatanen.
Okay.
And it's in Finland.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
That is the
Funland
Christmas Winter Wonderland hotel. Okay. The other hotel,
that looks dope. Aaron showed me the video for it. It's like a winter wonderland. They got Christmas trees and reindeer and the dog sleds with the dogs.
I showed you. I had the site saved on my computer for a really long time. One of my coworkers showed it to me, and I showed it to you a while back, and I was like, I want to do this someday. This is when we very first moved here. You don't remember?
I mean, do you remember 6 years ago?
Barely. Yeah, it makes sense.
One thing, one time.
So yeah, it's called Kakslatanen, and it's in Finland.
Just sounds
it's
cool.
not in Iceland.
So do you still want to go to Iceland?
Yeah. So, well, sure. But the ice hotel that I'm talking about is in Sweden, and there's one in Norway. And yeah, so that's what I wanted to do. I said the wrong place.
But okay, you said the wrong country.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the thing, so the ice hotel and Kakslatanen are 2 different things that had molded into one giant idea
but
spot.
You could turn it all into like a 2-3 week Nordic adventure. Yeah.
I'm down. Let's go. When are we leaving? Mel, you ready?
You and Apple can do that trip. I don't want to be that cold.
That's what I said about Aaron. I was like, you of all people, like Aaron with cold is the funniest thing. He liked that.
I know.
But then when he showed me the video, it made everywhere it's like a couple. Everywhere they're going, they're wearing big comfy parkas and they look all cute.
They provide
all this stuff. The big furry hats, everything.
They hook you up.
So it looks so tranquil and cozy. When he showed me the video, I could picture both of you because you both like to
bundle up,
cuddle up and cover up
that
to your chin. And
I'll be cold if I have to, but I don't want to be cold.
Yeah. Well, everything they show is staying warm. Like they're in the sauna.
Yeah, so go
they're in the
to
awesome
the
sauna.
beach.
They're in all
I'll show you the video and you'll be like, oh, that looks dope.
The hot springs in cold, that sounds fun.
There's like a hatch in the snow and you go down in.
I actually do kind of remember a little bit now that you mentioned that.
And there's like sauna down there and then you climb out and jump in the cold pool and the whole thing.
After I saw it, I was like, okay, that's dope.
Yeah. So like I said, we stopped recording and it's the next day now. And I wanted to talk about something that Mel brought up yesterday when we were driving. And it was kind of out of the blue, actually. You brought it up. You were like,
I love that. If you could see Mel's looking at Aaron like, what did I say?
I don't remember this.
Oh, I do. Because the
guys.
minute we started talking about it, I
interesting.
was like, this conversation needs to be on the show.
All right.
You brought up Goose.
Oh,
and the passing of the torch.
Yeah.
And what do you remember what you said?
Well, I said, okay, so after seeing Goose and after, because you have said that you felt like either Fish or Grateful Dead was like kind of passing the torch on to Goose. And not that I agree or disagree. It was just like, oh, okay, whatever. But after I saw like the whole Taboose thing and them going to Playing in the Sand and just Goose's sheer level of attention, you know?
What do you mean? Their attention or the attention that they're getting?
The attention that they're getting from every avenue, like from magazines to fellow musicians to the, old, people that are keeping it going and him working out with Bobby. And it just really, to me, seemed as if it was something because, these guys aren't getting older. And although I don't blame them.
Wait, what? These guys aren't getting older. Yeah, they are.
Well,
you mean those guys aren't getting any younger?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. None of them, even Goose, they're not getting they're not getting younger either.
No.
But no, I mean like Bobby and all the members of the Dead and even Trey and every member from Fish, like those big touring bands that have the following and have the ability to make people quit what they're doing and travel around the country with them. They're not getting any younger. And so they have to, they don't have to, but giving that blessing or passing on the fan base and just the acknowledgement of them doing good, it seems apparent lately. And so I started to think about what you said about the passing of the torch, and it really does seem like that. It seems as if through those two very big things, the Taboose show and then of course Trey getting on stage with him even before that and all that kind of stuff.
Trey opened for Goose at Peach.
Yeah, but like I remember when they were, I can't remember, it was at the Beacon or I can't remember where Goose was. And this is before Taboose, but Trey came out and was like doing, like joined them on stage.
Yep.
It like I said, it just seemed more apparent that these more senior musicians were passing on or even just saying welcome to the spot. Welcome.
Like after watching the Long Strange Trip with Connor the other day, it really made me think about the community differently. The scene is its own like self-sustaining entity. It's a thing. And I always wondered like how much importance or how much attention the band paid to what was going on outside because they're in their little insular bubble.
Yeah.
Right. But after watching that and seeing that like they are paying attention to what's going on out there and talking to the musicians that we've spoken to, I really feel like there is a, how do I put this? There's a and passing the torch is kind of one way to say it, but like an introduction being made.
Yeah, that could be it too.
Right? Like, I think that like the Phish community is very picky, and so is the Grateful Dead community about what music they allow in, what's cool. You know what I mean? And for Trey to take the stage with them is showing them to a whole group of people that may or may not have wanted to pay attention otherwise.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like giving your fan base to them, putting you on stage for their fan base. And there's all these comparisons made between Goose and Phish all the time. I hear it all the time. And I think it was really cool that Dead and Company took them to Playing in the Sand, because in my experience, Deadheads are a little bit more closed-minded to other music. Deadheads love Grateful Dead music and have a difficult time listening to other stuff.
We did it for many years.
I only say that because that's how I was.
Yeah.
And so
even with Phish.
I mean,
wait, let me finish.
I would just say this: the older Deadheads, yes.
Yeah. So to bring Goose out in front of everybody like that at Playing in the Sand is a stamp of approval from the band itself to the audience. Right? They're not going to have some schleps up there playing bullshit.
That's $1 million spot, to be near or around such a high end band,
And then also,
okay. Another thing that made me think that, because it didn't just pop into my mind. There was a few things, because you saw that Long Strange Trip with Connor, and I saw the tail end of it, and they were talking a lot about how Jerry was so isolated. Even when they were, touring or whatever, he stayed in the hotel room. He did not leave because he couldn't. He's so visually noticeable that there was no way. And so I ended up listening to a podcast with Wendy Weir, Bob Weir's sister, and she is a channeler, and was talking about her channeling some of the members of the Grateful Dead that had passed on, and one of them was Jerry. And she's had, and I believe still does have, a channeling kind of relationship with Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the things that she was talking about, just in addition to all the stuff that I just said, it really made me realize that just that passing of the torch, or that moving on, or that ushering in a new age is really what I saw and felt.
What do you think, Apple?
What do I think? But first I would back up to one thing, because it's funny. I guess how you see things and stuff. Like you said, like Trey opened for Goose at Peach. It's one way of looking at it, but it's like Trey headlined the headlining spot, and Goose got the late night spot, but killed it. And that's one we'd seen Goose several times, but by then that was the biggest stage we'd seen him on, and the performance that they gave. And we've talked to other people about it that were there and have watched the video. They really on their own, they were already doing it.
Oh yeah,
they were already on a trajectory that was climbing, and it's kind of funny in the scene that, they really have come up quite quick from and we've kind of been there the whole way watching it, and have dug them since the beginning. And a lot of people have kind of shit on them for that, especially now that they've gotten that spotlight from Phish and Grateful Dead. But it's one of those things. I forget. I was talking to Cody or somebody, and it's like we agreed on the same thing. It's like, and they're not. It's not one of those things. It's the wrong way to put it, but you could talk shit if you can back it up. They're not talking shit. They're just getting out and doing their thing. and all the people that talk crap about it, it's like, how can you deny this? Their musical talent,
dude. It's musical sunshine.
Rick's voice, Peter's funny antics and lightheartedness and playing, and all of them have brought it together to this special thing that we've always talked about too, through the whole pandemic thing and everything, that they got put on hold just like all of us. Their trajectory was.
I think that Goose is one of the few bands that didn't get put on hold through the pandemic. They are one of the few that sees the opportunity. Look at the bingo tour and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Is the thing that's made them get to where they are now.
By put it on hold, everybody got put on hold, including them. It would have happened sooner, I guess is what I mean.
Okay.
That 2 years kind of, but that they were like a lot of musicians that are kicking ass again. They use that time to hone their skills, to write more, to do a lot of things. But I think it's awesome what's happening. I mean, obviously I agree with all of that. Like Trey it's kind of like game recognizing game. Like, these guys are dope. Their message they're bringing, their following, everything fits with what's going on. And it's kind of I like that's a hard one to get, like the passing of the baton. Like, maybe I think that's kind of the wrong wording. It's more like the stamp of approval, like we were just saying, kind of like, welcome to the table, welcome to the club. We want our people. And Fish and Grateful Dead and Company, they know their fans are very critical,
specific,
and very hard to open the door to somebody else. And they're kind of like saying, hey, we like these guys, we brought them along with us, and here, we want to introduce you to them.
Yeah.
And take the stage with them. And then their collaborations together, like the Dead and Company one, that seeing Bobby on stage with Rick singing Peggy-O.
That was so sweet.
Oh my God.
That was so sweet.
Like, if you're a person that watches that and doesn't get anything out of it or understand what's happening there, I don't know where you're at.
I don't know what to tell you, man.
Well, I mean, I think maybe somebody just seeing it for the first time, they don't know who Rick is, they don't know who Bobby is, and just sees that.
Well, that's different.
Yeah, you can go like right over your head, but when you're in the musical scene and you see that and you understand what that is, it was like such a tender, sweet moment that will go down in history. And then to see them like working out and
meditating on the beach,
and like doing all of those, like they really spent time together doing.
And that's what I think with Goose. We've seen them their whole way coming up and stuff. They're above and beyond everything else. I think they respect what's going on. They treat it with respect and with grandeur, the way Peter always introduces stuff when they collaborate. He's a great like MC for doing all the things that happen. Like, they're so genuine and sweet about this opportunity, and it's not wasted on them.
There's another level to all this though. Like, by Trey playing with Goose, they introduced Goose to the Fish community that wouldn't otherwise have paid attention to Goose, and vice versa with Dead and Company. But the other side of this is that, like, energy side of it, because there's a very deep psychedelic world that's peculiar and particular to Fish, and one that's very peculiar and particular to the Grateful Dead and to Dead and Company. When you're high at a show and that thing happens, it's peculiar and particular to that band at that time in that moment. And especially with those two bands, Fish being 40 years old this year, and Dead and Company / Grateful Dead music have been played for over 50 years. There's a deep, energetic world in that. And I feel like when somebody like Weir or Trey pulls somebody up on stage with them, it is a lot like, I asked this to Mel yesterday, like what's the word? Darshan? Like when
we were all in the car and we're talking about this,
like when
the passing of energy.
Buddhist monks will lay hands on the younger monks to pass a lineage on to them, and it's a vibratory thing. And I see it as that. And it also, when you and I were coming up, Fish and the Grateful Dead communities did not intermingle very often.
No, it was completely separate.
No. And so this is, to me, is a link between the two. Is what
Grateful Dead DNA and the Fish DNA intertwining into each other now.
Yep.
And bringing it together.
And that, to me, is what Goose represents in my mind before this happened.
Yeah.
I was like, this is the best shit of like the Grateful Dead music style of jamming that I love, and the best stuff of the Fish world that I love, put together into something new with their own stuff added on top of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That might not be the exact right word. Darshan, also spelled darshana, in the Indian philosophy and religion, particularly in Hinduism, it's the beholding of a deity.
Okay, yeah, that's wrong.
Revered person or sacred object.
Okay, it's the wrong word.
Yeah, it's the wrong.
There's no
making eye contact with the deity.
That's what happened when you went and saw Jerry.
Yeah,
Darshan.
Yeah, that's not it.
Well, I'm gonna ask.
It's another word.
What do you think? What do you think the possibility is? What if we got a co-headlining Fish and Dead and Company tour to completely bring the two together?
That'd be so much people.
Yeah, that's too many people.
I know. I throw it out there kind of in jest, but it's like that's what's happening. Like we were really focused on just Grateful Dead music until not too long ago.
Maybe 4 years ago.
Yeah. And when we went and saw Fish for the first time when we were still living in Vegas, like started to get it.
That was 2015.
Yeah. So, I mean,
it's 8 years.
Yeah. Yeah. For a long time, it was just Grateful Dead. And it was even hard to accept Dead and Company at first when that started, after Fare Thee Well and everything. But now we're so open to
whatever,
everything.
Well,
and I think this whole community is getting more like that, more open to. I mean, shit, we go see as much bluegrass as we do other stuff.
Yeah,
and everything now.
And don't get me wrong, this isn't a Goose commercial. Like, you know what I mean? If you don't like them, you don't like them. That's cool. But
you like what you like.
Exactly. But for me, the last couple of times that we've partied and done whatever, Goose has been the thing that's been on. And I can say that there is something magical there, honestly. That it's like, I said this a minute ago, it's musical sunshine. When they get going, there's something happening that is unique, peculiar, and particular to Goose, that is really strong and is elevating really fast. We saw them in 2019 with opening for Pigeons, right? Is that right?
I mean, I don't know. I'm not
Yeah,
like
it was
you
just-
guys with the dates and shit.
I know we saw
It was just
open
before
for
the
Pigeons.
pandemic. We saw them open for Pigeons, and they were good. That's when they did like the Wim Hof breathing and all that stuff.
Yeah, they did the Ghostbusters.
That was still my
cover
favorite
and-
time seeing Goose.
They were good, but then after the pandemic, we saw them 2 nights in a row, and it was evident that it was exponential, the musicianship from time before. And then take it even a step further, we saw them in Pioneer Square over the summer, and it was even more, which I guess is normal, right, if you're practicing and doing your thing.
Well, I mean, they'd been playing the entire time. So, I mean, you only get tighter and more locked in with your homies and better at feeling out the vibe and just, I mean, think about when you're into something and you're doing it and you're doing it and you're doing it. The minute you lock out of it, it's harder to get back in. So they've been traveling, playing with the best, and they're just freaking dope.
Yeah,
They
and
just
then
keep
when we've
getting
seen
better.
them get bigger stages, that's like you jumped over like going back to last summer, the Peach Festival like going back to last summer, the Peach Festival performance, having that late night slot, that huge crowd, everybody was into it. And the way they treated that stage and the performance and everything, to me, I was like, that was the first time it was like, oh shit, these guys got it going on. They know what's happening. They respect this.
Mm-hmm.
They respect their people. They respect us. That really hit home that night, and everybody that was there. I remember the next day, everybody was talking about that show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was.
Did you
definitely
catch
the
Goose
thing.
last night? It was really amazing.
I guess the thing that I'm trying to say that I'm not saying well, because there's really no words to explain what I mean, is like when we saw them open for Pigeons, it was a good show. Like, we watched a group of musicians play, and it was great music. It was really fun. But the other times that we've seen them play is when there's times when a band is playing, when it's the band, the audience, and there is another thing there. Something else enters. And that's what I'm talking about. Not all bands have that. The sense of other. When there's a presence in the room and the music is being played by that presence. And I don't experience that at every show. I don't see that happening with the people on stage at every show. But I've noticed that with them more each time we've seen them, that they're allowing whatever that thing is to come in and do whatever it does. And I would gather that's why people like Trey and people like Bobby are saying, you know what, let's have these guys out with us, because those are the pioneers of playing with the other one like that, you know?
Yeah.
It's a crazy thing to watch. I when you talk to people that were around when the Dead came up, or people that have like 1.0 Fish fans, this is the kind of stuff that they talk about happening with them then.
Yeah.
Like seeing the crowds get bigger and knowing that there was something special happening. And since Dead and Fish came up, we haven't had that happen again. We've had really great bands come on the scene that fucking kick ass, and I can name 1,000 of them that are amazing that I would travel to go see. But we haven't seen this happen. At least not to this degree.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I just saying a second ago to Aaron, like once I've got that with a few shows once in a while, like last year, sometimes you get those shows and it's a combination of like the venue, the crowd, the timing, everything. Last year when me and Aaron and Mel went to Red Rocks to see Green
Was
Sky.
that last year?
Yeah, that was 21.
Oh, that's right. That was 21. That was coming out of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And that's why it was so much more special. It was one of the biggest things we saw happen after like the lockdown. And it was like the whole thing. It was the timing, Red Rocks being so special and like sacred ground. But that performance, I love Green Sky. And that was the most amazing one I've seen. We've seen them a bunch of times now. Mm-hmm. And that one was really special. Mm-hmm. And really, there was really something going on there.
Yeah, I heard like in the Long Strange Trip, I think it was Phil that was saying, you know, man, when we were on and it was chugging along, nothing could stop us.
Yeah.
And that's it can happen for any musicians anytime. It's like you said, it's depends on the crowd and the venue and the night. And I think that's what musicians mean when they have an on night or an off night. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially in this scene, that's what they're talking about. But like consistently hitting that night after night after night after night and not having those bummer, like, oh fuck, we didn't get there tonight shows.
Yeah.
That's what we're seeing. And I think that's what we saw with Fish, and that's what we saw with the Dead. And it's just a really interesting musical time to be alive right now, to be able to like see all this happening and to be able to comment on it. Because normally we would be talking about history like this. You get what I mean by that?
Yeah, and it's not as it's happening.
Yeah, we're getting it in real time.
Well, and that's one thing I get too with some of the not necessarily naysayers and stuff, but I know a few people that have, like with Goose, like it's still like oh, I'm on board, but it's still too early. That they don't have enough of a catalog yet or a history.
Yeah, it's
to
hard.
Be judged by.
It's hard to when you're a new band.
They
and
don't
you're
have
off,
a lot. They don't have a deep catalog.
So
like I look forward to them coming out with more music because their catalog isn't that deep yet, and they're up there now. They've they've been, and that's the thing too. And I'm sure they can handle it. But now they've been put kind of up on a pedestal and in a spotlight that puts pressure on you, which I'm sure they can handle. But I hadn't really
thought of that.
I hadn't really thought of this, but a few people I work with in the cannabis industry that are like us into everything are like I've been to their shows and I've gotten down and I get it, but what's happening with them, man, that's a lot to live up to. And I hope they do it. And I think they can, but they don't have a deep catalog yet.
How could
that's
they?
what that's what I'm saying. And then that's
where like King
that's
Gizzard.
where some of the people talking, not really down on them, but why then? There's a lot of jam bands that have been around for a while with a deeper history and catalog that some people think maybe they deserve that spot more or something.
Hey man,
but it's not even one spot. It really isn't one spot. It's just their time.
Yeah.
Like, that's really what it is. There's so many spots. Like, first it was the Grateful Dead, and everybody was like, nothing can be like that. And then Fish, and then it was like, nothing can be like that. And it continues to evolve. Like, maybe, jam band will evolve into something that's not even called jam anymore. It'll evolve into something different. And in the next 5 or 10 years, we'll be listening to things that we don't even recognize, but are still getting the same amount of attention or notoriety as what's happening now.
Yeah.
Because Goose's sound is not like the Dead at all. And it is not like Fish.
Yeah.
There's elements that,
there's
influence and elements, but it's not like that.
No.
So these are completely different musical, like, types, and it's still growing, and they have to get off the road in order to make a catalog, you know what I mean? They've been freaking going for it and burning it. So it's really exciting to see what's happening and to be able to be a part of some of these first shows that are creating the hype around Goose.
I look at it like Billy Strings caused a stir and is causing a stir.
Yeah, he's still definitely doing it.
And people will pick up and do Billy Strings tour. We know people.
Well, I think now the whole tour thing is not relegated to one band anymore. It's a thing to do now. I think that it was like the Grateful Dead, and then you would tour with them, and then the Fish, and you would do that. And in the East Coast, maybe Widespread, few bands like that. But like now in 2020 to now, 2020 to now, like there's a lot of people or bands that people travel for because it's a thing to do.
But there's people that will travel to see those bands, but there's not an ecosystem outside of each show for a lot of bands. I just don't know because I don't travel. I've seen it at Billy Strings, I've seen it at Fish, and I've seen it at Dead and Company. I haven't seen that outside of a Humphrey show or a Pigeon show or anybody yet, even Goose. Like there's no big shakedown and people in the parking lot for hours before the show.
Yeah, that takes a while to accumulate, like 40 years Fish.
Right.
Like that is not small. And it's happening with Billy Strings, but I mean, he doesn't have thousands of people out like at a shakedown. That's not happening yet. It's probably coming, but like that takes a while it takes a while to establish yourself and to grow a catalog and to, play enough times where people, you're a household name. You're not like, oh, who's that guy again? Like, you're established.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, one thing that's always struck me with all them too and everything, which I mean, we kind of know the answer to, and they never strived for that, is like, none of these bands are bands that ever get airplay, like on the radio station.
Is that even a thing anymore?
Or that are in the spotlight. Well, even anymore, that was through the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. It's always been like Goose doesn't get any airplay. I think if they threw on fucking some of Goose on some of the alternative stations and stuff, more people would like them. But for some reason, it's kind of like that thing with the Grateful Dead. It's like it's not for everybody. And it's kind of cool to like kind of keep a secret. You just kind of have with the people that really get them, and it's not that airplay #1 singles and stuff.
I'm honestly asking that. I don't know anybody except for you, Apple, that listens to the radio anymore.
I listen to the radio on occasion.
Apple is the only person I know that consistently listens to the radio every day.
Yeah, I do it on my drive to work and back.
That's it. So I don't even know that that's a thing, airplay. You can go on any streaming service and download music and listen to it. Yeah. That's airplay.
Yeah, but no, well, that's selective.
Yeah, that's not
that's
airplay.
You going selecting stuff. The airplay is what is picked. It's kind of watching like NBC, CBS, stuff like that.
Yes.
And that's one thing I always kind of liked of it. It's kind of like I don't necessarily agree with it, but it's kind of a glimpse of what pop culture is, and that's what it is. Radio is like pop culture. That's where the big names are. You know, that's your Taylor Swift, Post Malone. It's mostly like rap, hip hop, pop, alternative that gets that kind of airplay and stuff.
It's so weird. That's so weird to me.
Yeah, and then once in a while, some bands come out. Like one recently that I was like, okay. Fucking the one single that the band what's it called Manskin out of England.
I don't know it.
You know the song if you heard it.
My boss was actually listening to them the other day. Manskin.
Yeah, they have one hit that like caught on, and you guys would know it. I can't think of the lyrics right now.
I definitely wouldn't know it.
But they're an Italian band, and a customer at work was like, "You need to don't." That's the song that got them popular. That's like the song you're going to hear in a Cadillac commercial in a couple years or something. But the rest, I looked into more, watched some live performances. They're just
Chosen. Is that it?
I think so. I choose it. It's kind of a raunchy. He's got a raspy voice, but that it turned me on to the radio. But you had to go down the rabbit hole, the things they don't play, and watching their live performances. They're a fucking trip, and they have a hell of a following.
So, and that was released in 2017.
And it didn't get popular until just like recently.
I wonder how stuff like that happens. Like,
and I also love the pop culture world. I find myself singing along to Post Malone and shit like that. There's some dope songwriting and cool shit going on out there. And then I love too, then those worlds converge, like Billy Strings and Post Malone are fucking homies.
Yeah.
And they've done shit together now. And you know, it's like, that's why I listen to the radio. I know Aaron's always found that he's like, really, dude? Fucking, and I still love turning on.
I even bought you a satellite radio for your car.
I never hooked up. I don't want it. I'm not in my car that much. But I love going to my classic rock stations too. Fucking heading into work in the morning, a little AC/DC comes on or something, or a little Steely Dan, whatever. It's like, I know that. And then I also get turned on to other things. Plus, I work with a lot of people that listen to rap and all the pop culture stuff.
I guess I just feel like that, like AC/DC or even a Zeppelin tune, or okay, I'll leave Zeppelin out, but like AC/DC and like classic rock.
Yeah.
I fucking heard it. Like it's the same shit over. And it's been 51 years of hearing that shit.
It can be super comforting for people, and it can put you like back, like, oh hell yeah. And you think about when you freaking skipped school and you fucking hung out with your girlfriend and you like went to the park. I don't know, but like
memory lane.
Those kinds of that music has a way of bringing you back to in time. They're like little time machines, and people enjoy, especially if sometimes they were the best times of your life.
And it can invigorate you. I had a new
Get pumped up.
I had a new appreciation and quick because I got to where like Aerosmith would come on the radio, and I'd immediately I heard that what you just said, fucking heard it. But once John B had asked us to weigh in on Aerosmith, it was kind of newer to me again. I listened to it again with fresh ears again. Yeah. And now I dig it. Like Dream On comes on. Yeah, it's like, fuck, there's certain things. It's just, it's the nostalgia and stuff. Plus, I find myself singing along to like Big Dick Energy and shit. These rap songs, Cardi B and stuff like that. And
you, out of the three of us, I would hazard to say that you are the most like sentimental, nostalgic one.
And I would say the most well-rounded.
Okay, yeah.
By far. Like you keep sentimental objects. You get sentimental when certain things happen.
Yeah.
You're a reminiscent, sentimental kind of person. I am. I am not. Like I just throw shit away.
That's bullshit.
Not like that.
He is.
You're your own way. Everybody's got their own way of being sentimental. Apple just is like that with most things, but you are very much like that. Otherwise, the Grateful Dead wouldn't mean shit to you.
Well, okay.
Playing with music, I have a very huge palette.
But you have this tchotchke was given to me by my sister, and it means something to me because on that day,
93.
Yeah, I have like very few things like that in my life. I don't have a bunch of little knickknacks and shit.
I would say this about you, Aaron. It is that you were which this is awesome and speaks towards you and Mel's relation. You're sentimental with the life you built with Mel.
Yep.
Anything before then, other than maybe a couple things I gave you or something, there's not much before that. You're sentimental in the life you created with Mel and your children.
Absolutely.
And
I think that's why like when the classic rock stuff comes on, it doesn't play.
I think that's kind of why you and I have a little bit of a disconnect where Apple and I have
Mel
a connection.
Gets sentimental too with
because I liked my life before you also. Like I didn't hate it. I had a great life. It was cool. I loved music. I loved all kinds of stuff. When I listened to alternative, I remember these amazing memories. When you listen to it, you think about dying and doing drugs. Like, so I get to go down memory lane with Apple in that way. And it's really cathartic for me because I don't get to talk about it with the person that I love the most.
Yeah.
And that really sucks, actually, like to not be able to talk. We don't really even talk about our previous life before we were together.
Well,
even
to be fair, Mel, you had like 3 years out of high school.
Yeah, but 3 years out of high school, but I was a mother 2.5 years before you met me, and I was fucking had a whole life before that too. I ran away, and like I had a life. It was just short lived, but it was in the perfect time in the 90s when everything was popping off.
Yeah,
and it was like
shit was still good.
Still was really good for a
and I appreciate that with Mel too. Like, I remember one of the first times we really bonded. I've talked about it before. Is when we done some Molly at their house in Vegas. This is like early 2000s.
Dr. Dre and
Aaron was tired and like went to bed, and Mel's like, I'm putting on fucking Snoop Dogg, and Aaron's like, wasn't his jam. Like
I fell asleep on the couch.
He's like, okay, I'm going to bed, and me and Mel talk about it. Mel still to this day blows me away by knowing the lyrics to so many rap songs. When they're on, I know I can sing to part of it, but you could turn the music off in the middle of it, and Mel would finish the fucking song like the way it's intended to be.
Yep.
With like attitude and the fucking emoji. She knows so much rap and is so good at it. And then I also appreciate too, because I know I get it. You don't have the same nostalgia like I get out of the grunge era. The grunge.
Well,
grunge is something that like really saved my life.
It's hard
and it
for
makes
me
me
to
feel
to.
really good. I'll get on a grunge kick once in a while. It's usually when I've had a few drinks.
I have to leave when you do
Aaron
that.
comes out and he'll come out for a smoke. I'm on the patio, like in the middle of like Alice in Chains,
which I
Nirvana.
fucking love, and I never.
And he's like, really, dude? Okay, all right. And he hurries up, finishes smoke, and goes back.
Those
to the
are the
house.
times when I love hanging out with you the most.
And we talk about it, and because that's another thing too I like with Mel is Aaron knows the stories. we were like hanging out, we were friends, but like talking with him, like what does this song mean to you? And like getting into that, and like
we don't. He doesn't even know what those songs mean to me because we don't listen to them together.
Those songs have like, those are like trauma.
Yeah,
it's trauma. Like for
but
real.
But it's
real.
interesting. I mean, all of this, like what we're talking, it just speaks to like the power and the magic and everything of music.
Yeah.
Of all types.
It's a time machine. It's a memory recorder and maker. It is an attitude adjustment.
It's a spiritual conduit.
It's a way to get to talk without having to say anything. Like you can give somebody a song and it'll like say everything that you want it to say.
Oh yeah, that's a great way. Like okay, like to that I go down like to Elton John. I wrote this song for
Yeah.
So I put down these words,
Yeah.
Like last week at the dispenser, everybody's a little funky in the morning, and I'm working with Artie and Lady, and I put on I go, and I knew like some songs will just break that. I put on Brick House. Fucking, and the next thing you know, fucking, they're dancing. We're all dancing. The customers came in. They're like, "Fuck yeah, Brick House, laying it down."
Yeah. You know what, Apple? You're not allowed to sing that anymore.
Why?
Because you completely ruined it.
No.
Oh, on the quiz show, on the
you know what
karaoke
is cool? Like when you're in a shared space, say like a grocery store, retail spot, a place with a lot of maybe people with different age groups. When you put on stuff like that, like throwbacks, it includes everybody. But if you put on a specific like metal or jam bands or, exclude like, only jazz, like that doesn't allow people to come together unless they all like that. And so it's kind of when you put on pop music, or old,
more inclusive.
It is inclusive. A lot of people, even if they're younger, maybe their parents grew up with it, so they know it. And
so like pop music, like Michael Jackson or something.
Michael Jackson, TLC, like Casey and the Sunshine Band, things like that have been like through the years, and maybe not into the 2000s or like 2020s, I should say, but like up until that. You put on that music and it allows people to have camaraderie where they otherwise wouldn't.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that music, even though especially as genres back in the old days, it broke genres too, because everybody knows those, no matter creed, color, sex, everything. We're all influenced and heard those at some point.
Y'all haven't, whoever's listening to this, you have not heard this interview yet because we haven't put it out yet, but Maurice Tanny, he'll be out shortly, and we had a conversation about when he was younger and listening to like the top 40, and there wasn't like separate like genres. They would just play music that was
I remember this conversation.
They would just like play music, and so you didn't think you were getting R&B or soft rock or anything. You didn't think that to say that because it was just all inclusive for everything. And that's like the coolest way. So you don't even
I wish we still had that.
Yeah,
like Casey Kasem's top 40 countdown every fucking weekend.
That was dope.
Me and my sister used to, you'd get like Earth, Wind, and Fire, then Olivia Newton-John, then the Bee Gees, and then like fucking Hank Williams Jr. It was
amazing.
Like whatever was charting.
Gladys Knight.
More when they tracked the sales and the charts, and that's what everything went by.
Yeah.
But it was a very eclectic mix of like everything.
But yeah, so you see, even music can be scarring, like what happened with you. You know what I mean? Like it is there. These mantras are so ingrained in us, and the fact that you can remember lyrics, and sometimes you can't even remember your social security number.
I can like remember the feeling of being dope sick and Down in a Hole playing by Alice in Chains.
Alice in Chains,
and like
the Dirt,
wanting to die.
See, like when I listen to Alice in Chains, it reminds me of the last times that me and my brother hung out. And so to me, it was like the very last good memories that I had with my brother before that.
That's it. And then that whole album, Dirt, I look back at, and you've talked about that. That was a life change, and that album helped save my life. when I was at a down point, like, oh shit, he's talking right to,
He's going through it too.
What's my drug of choice? And then it was a lifesaver. And I go back to that and it's good feelings every time.
Yeah.
Good, especially
So
Nutshell.
Oh my gosh, that Nutshell, that song,
That's
man.
good shit.
No
And then when they were
excuses.
all doing freaking MTV
The MTV
Unplugged. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, why
That was-
isn't that still happening?
I think that they
Fucking-
still do it, but it's not like
It's not
it used to
cool.
be.
not with
It's
It's
yeah,
not like it
yeah.
used to be.
You're not getting Kurt Cobain up there in a sweater.
no,
Not anymore. Wow. Good talk, guys.
Yeah,
Good talk.
are we gonna answer the wing question, or are we gonna save that?
Let's
for,
save
Just save it.
Okay,
Let's save it.
All
It's,
right.
it's not apropos right now.
Yeah, well, that was a tidbit. We have a listener that asked a question of us that
Called
you'll
in
have
on
to
Tepid Line.
you'll have to listen into and find out.
So yeah, we'll be back on Friday to join you for your morning commute.
And we want to thank the Edible Beats.
Yeah, for
Yes,
collaborating
with us.
on this episode about travel and music. That is what this ended up being.
Yeah.
Travel and music.
Travel, music, traveling, go see music.
Hey,
music for traveling.
Just so y'all know, like, there's no script to this. When I sat down yesterday, before we started,
you sat down on yesterday.
yes, I did. But when I hit record, I decided what I was going to say. Like that, there was no, we didn't discuss it beforehand. So
I think they know that about us.
I'm just
by
saying,
now.
just in case.
By now.
Yeah, there's
For those that are new to the No Simple Road world, this is all
That's what makes it
unscripted
so
shit,
fun
man.
to us as well, is we don't know what we're gonna do. It is, if it was like script, like here, get on your mark.
It gets too
This is-
boring if you have to
Yeah.
think about it all the time. You're thinking about it all day. Like, okay, we're going to talk
Yeah,
about.
be thinking about these questions.
No, get out of here.
Answer these 4 questions. What is your favorite porridge?
Although I do like being questioned.
Yeah.
Where
every
were
now
you
and
on
then.
the night of December 23rd? Okay. We love you guys. We'll be back on Friday, and travel. It's good. If you can.
Yeah, travel, listen to music.
Shit,
Yeah,
just
go-
walk across the street.
Go
Don't
down
just
memory lane.
do that. Yeah.
It's like 2 of my favorites always put me in a good mood, and it's maybe funny to some people. Rihanna and Taylor Swift are
Oh,
my
Tay-Tay.
angels.
Shake It Off is one of my favorite songs
Uh-huh.
when people are giving me crap.
Taylor Swift, we were just
Oh,
talking about this
yes.
yesterday. Taylor Swift, some of her lyrics and stuff.
Listen,
are-
watch her documentary if you haven't. It's worth
Pretty
the hour and a
She
half
is
or
actually
whatever.
cool. I'll just admit it.
she
She's
was
cool.
a performer at like
Dude,
4.
writing songs at like 3 and 4 years old.
Performing
Like
for the
what? With
family.
a guitar even? Like
And
stop
hey,
it.
man, the Swifties are going to single-handedly fix the ticketing industry, so I'm about it.
And then,
Me too,
and
man.
then anything Riri touches is gold. So
All right.
Riri- Oh, that's Chris. This is Jay.
Smile at a stranger. Safety third. Hydrate. Pet your animals.
work.
And haters
Well,
gonna hate.
well,
hate,
thoughts.
hate, hate.
When I'm with you, all I get is wild
And remember,
thoughts.
just shake it off.
Oh my god.
Like twist and turn the mission, turn and listen, journey. Wish the word is many problems, but it's a burden. Family needs has been deferred, and hella means been the earth, and alchemy can bring the birth, the melody of a newborn. So persistent, so resistant, so insistent, so committed, so resilient, or haven't you learned it? One simple road. My windshield is shattered as I focus through the spot in the corner that is still intact. The react is both a defense mechanism as well as a fear. We've traveled this road before, so we may think, but it's a tad bit of strange similarities that feed an A equal A complex. The fears of your past do not equal the perplexities of the current road.
Hey, listeners.
I want to tell you about the April-May 2023 issue of Relics magazine. Features a Dave Matthews Band cover story with additional articles and interviews with The National, Graham Nash, Wayne Shorter, ALO, Ivan Neville, our friend Eric Krasno and Stanton Moore, Marty Stewart, and much more. Check out the latest version of Relics and subscribe now at relics.com/DMB. Thanks, Relics.
Yes, hello out there, everyone. I'm Hal Schwartz.
And I'm Flynn McLean. Together we host None But the Brave, a podcast dedicated to the music and career of Bruce Springsteen.
Bruce and E Street Band are on tour right now for the first time in 6 years, and we're taking a detailed look at what's happening on stage in our bi-weekly episodes.
We've also been recently joined by some very exciting guests, including rock journalist Warren Zanes and Stephen Hayden, Backstreet's magazine founder Charles Cross, and Barstool's Kirk Minahan.
If you're a diehard Springsteen fan, this is the show for you.
So please subscribe to None But the Brave on your favorite podcasting platform, and we hope to see you further on up the road.
Thank you so much. We'll be seeing you.